Hi everyone and welcome to Season 1, Episode 3 of Reputation Rebuild at Auxerre with me, the United City FM. So we've had a little bit of a mixed start to the season so far, but the last couple of games we've had a couple of wins in, which just gives us a little bit of hope that we're moving in the right direction. Today though, it's going to be another tricky affair against Lens in Ligue 2. They're going to be a hard side to get the points off, but let's see how we get on. Welcome back to Auxerre everyone. As I said in the intro, we have had a little bit of a mixed start, but things are looking a little bit better now. After the first game that we played against Chambly in the last episode where we lost 1-0, we haven't lost since. We've had a couple of draws. We went through in the cup competition against Paris FC, which is a good result. We also went again through the cup competition against Châteauroux. 1-0 in the last outing that we've had, and in between times we've had a couple of draws and a win in the Ligue 2, so it's not too bad. Although the one thing that I would say so far in the formation and the structure of play that we've got is that my strikers are basically nowhere to be seen. Remy Dugimon is the only one that's registered a goal so far for us, and goals have been very, very hard to find in general. So it's been a bit of a struggle to get the side playing well, but the results have been okay, and at the moment I'm happy enough with that. Although there are a couple of changes in today's team just because I think that we need a slightly more piercing front line. So let's get into the tactics page and just see what we've got in store for Lens today. So here we are on the tactics page. This is still the formation and the structure of play that we're trying to make work here at Auxerre in the first season. It's not one that I've played before, and I'm a little bit, just a little bit out of my depth in terms of trying to figure out how best to make it work. So far, it's been a little bit kind of limp, really. And the two strikers are basically the main culprits that I've seen so far. Both Lebihan and Sorgic have played the games, not played well, not got a goal between them, and so they come out of the side, and we've put Yatara and Dugimon in for today's game against Lens. Other than that, everybody else is doing all right, and the structure of the side is okay. We've created some chances. We just need to be a little bit more clinical in taking them. There's been a couple of minor changes over the last few games in terms of how we're set up. We are still in the direct counter-attack style on a cautious mentality now. I've dropped it to cautious just to be a little bit more reserved in going too gun-ho, sending the fullbacks up too early, etc., and leaving ourselves a bit vulnerable down the sides. And hopefully there's some mechanisms in our way of play that will slowly close this gap up as they get used to playing with each other. In possession, we've got a slightly wider attack when we've got the ball, trying to look for some width from the fullbacks when they do go forward. We've got a more direct style of play just because we need to be clearing that gap in that we've got in midfield and not going too short in the passing and coming a bit of a cropper. Lowering the tempo though, we were a bit gun-ho at the start, and I've lowered the tempo a little bit just to see if we can hold on to the ball and structure our attacks slightly better. We're playing for set pieces in and around this sort of area. If we can get the ball on a slightly more direct style up to this front four, and they can work it in and around the penalty box and maybe get a few challenges on them and work for some set pieces, that would be good. We're not playing the dribbling game at all. We've got no wide men that have been cutting in off the sides or anything to run at the defence, so that's not happening. More disciplined in our approach. Again, trying to make sure that the passes we do work rather than just spraying it about. In terms of this section, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this section out. We're not going to be counter-pressing. We are going to be counter-attacking. I'm not going to put the distribution too quickly, there's no need for it, and we're going to take away where the goalkeeper puts it and just see where naturally that happens for a while. So we're taking away some of the instructions there. Similarly here, get stuck in. I don't want to do it anymore. We're getting a few yellow cards around the place, which is causing us a few problems here and there. So we're going to take the get stuck in instruction off. The higher line and the standard line of engagement are there to try and close this gap up a little bit and see if that works. So this is where we're at the moment. If you've got any thoughts about any of those instructions, let me know in the comments below. I'm always interested to hear people's thoughts, because genuinely at this point with this particular formation, I am just struggling a little bit to figure out how best to actually get us to play it. So yeah, I've had everything suggested to me in terms of going more attacking because we're a big side like Auxerre, but I've also been more sort of cautious because of the type of formation that you're using and everything in between. So keep feeding me information. I keep taking little bits out of it and implementing them as we go, and gradually we will find something that works for us, I'm sure. But just at the moment, things are going well in terms of our results, but I still want a little bit more, especially from the front line, taking some of the chances that we create. And that's what we're looking for today. Although having said that, today we are away from home against one of the big boys in this particular division. They're sitting, I think, in 3rd place if we go and have a look. Yes, there they are in 3rd, and we're down in 10th. So they are going to be challenging opponents, Lons, today in Ligue 2. But anyway, for the game today against Lons, we've gone with Michel in goal, Brigery and Supreon in central defence, Setou at right back, Bernard at left back, Adiotti and Toure in central defensive midfield. In the attacking midfield, we've got Ngando and Silvestre. And then up top, we've got Dugimon and Yatara. And the bench of Bar, Boto, Ndom, Belogu, Chombost, Lebihan and Sorgic. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So all the critics are telling me that we are underdogs today, and quite substantially so. So we've used we're underdogs here, so it suits us down to the ground. Let's go and cause an upset and just see if we can put the pressure on the players to play and be above and beyond what people's expectations are for us today. Having said that, Lons are going to be very, very tricky, aren't they? And we'll see how we get on. They seem to be playing quite a well-structured setup with 3 in midfield and a couple of wide men and 1 guy up top. So if we can play through the midfield... and we haven't even been given a chance to play through the midfield, have we? Now, there was a mistake out on that far side. As the ball comes over here, that's a bad ball, and we should have got the challenge in, and he ran straight past it, which left the player completely able to pick out his cross, and he does so very well. And then there's a good header at the end of it, but we go 1-0 down. Very disappointing. They have a corner kick that comes in. They didn't beat our first man, and he gets it partially cleared. But again, Lons have pressed us in a little bit and have retrieved the ball for themselves, gone right the way back to the goalkeeper just to keep possession. They're drawing us out, it feels like, to then create some room behind us again. We'll see how that plays out. But we are back in our defensive structure, so we'll see this time whether we can cope with them slightly better. But they are working it well down the right-hand side. Again, the cross comes in. Again, the header comes in from the top of the 6-yard box, but this time narrowly over the top of the bar. And we can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief and hope that for the next few minutes of the game, at least, we can get hold of the ball at some point and actually settle the play down ourselves. It's not really working though, is it? So far, again, they've gone wide right and they've cut the ball into the middle again. And on the volley, that was really unlucky for them. I'm very fortunate that they didn't get another goal for us. Corner comes in on that occasion. What happened there? Oh no, we gave away a penalty. There was a push in the centre of the penalty box from that corner, and they get a chance to go 2-0 up after 19 minutes. And we are sinking without a trace here. So, firstly, pause the game. We're going to shout and ask them to show some passion. Then we are going to go into the tactics page and we're going to have to change this slightly. So, 19 minutes in and we are 2-0 down, and it's been absolutely fairly dreadful so far. So we've changed quite a lot, and I'm aware that there's some gambles in here, but what else can we do? We're 2-0 down. So we've changed the formation. We've dropped Dujimon into the attacking midfield line. He's going to play basically at the top of a diamond, but the diamond has also got Toure in the centre of it. So we're going to play these two attacking Metzalas. They're going to potentially attack slightly wider and work out their play slightly wider than you would maybe expect from a normal central midfielder. We're going to keep these two sitting in a defensive structure, but the rest of them are going to try and attack. Because we've got this 5 in midfield now, and we're going to be supporting them with 2 fullbacks, what I want to do is try and keep the ball better. So we've gone right the way into the tiki-taka, and we're going to spend some time in the tiki-taka seeing if we can keep the ball in this 5 and move it up the pitch collectively to then get a chance. That's the intention. Now I'm aware that it might not work particularly well just at the moment, but ultimately when we're 2-0 down after 19 minutes, it's worth trying something, isn't it? So that's what we're going to do for now. We're going to press play and we're going to go through the process of seeing whether we can find a way to keep the ball, move the ball up the pitch collectively, and find a way to create some chances. Look, we've had no chances whatsoever so far in this game. They've had like 7 shots at goal already. We are being outplayed and we've got to do something different, so it might as well be this. And just what I want more than anything is to not make any errors on the ball. If we can keep the ball but not give it away in silly positions, then maybe we've got a chance of doing something. And so far you can see that they are keeping the ball quite well, but we are being put under a little bit of pressure. That is exactly what I was talking about. We lose the ball because we weren't quite quick enough in the pass. And we've got to work on that if we're going to play this system in any way, shape or form, just to see if we can keep the ball better. Again, they have a corner kick. Again, this time it goes over the top of the bar, but it was another chance created. And we still are being completely decimated by them, really. In terms of possession, we're doing okay, but we're doing nothing with it. There was one shot at goal from us just then, but it wasn't even on target and didn't warrant a highlight. And we get through to half-time, 2-0 down, and I think this is going to be a real challenge this side to figure out how to play it. Now, what it feels like already, bear with me, I know I'm going to go on a bit of a ramble here for a second. What it feels like already to me, and tell me, please tell me in the comments below if you've had any experience of doing this any other way. But it feels like if you don't play wide midfielders of some sort, then your systems really struggle to get going. And it might be that further down the line, if we go through a whole season playing this way and then go into the second season and start playing this way still, eventually it might work for us. But I've had to change into playing wide men in my size pretty much most of the time when I've started not doing it at the beginning of a season, let's say, if that makes any sense at all. I know I'm rambling a little bit, but it's really frustrating. The results have been okay. The chances created have been all right up until this point, but the goal scoring has been awful, and today we're not even creating the chances. And I don't know how to change that in the with the big gap that we've got in midfield. But it was what the players. It's the players that we had in the club when I first started that kind of pushed me in this direction. Let me know if you've had any experience of playing these narrow formations and getting them to work and what the keys were. I'm really interested to know. I do not really want to go back to playing wide men in this scenario if I can help it, because I want to see if we can get this to work. But just at the moment, it's not really doing it for me. And it's kind of like walking through treacle trying to get this team to play in any way to what I think is their potential. Anyway, let's move on into the second half. We are going to tell them that assertively I want to see a much better performance in the second half, and then we're just going to put them back out there again and just see how we go. But it's been very, very hard work so far. And again, you can see immediately into this second half, they are still coming at us quite well. At least we've had a couple of shots at goal. So that demonstrates that potentially we're able to do something in this kind of game. But we lose the ball there again as we went too long in the tiki-taka style. That shouldn't be happening at all, should it really? But on this occasion, again, we went too long and we lost the ball. And Lons get a chance to rebuild their own attack. And again, it's down the right-hand side. One of our weaknesses, it seems like. And again, they score a goal. And I'm kind of tearing my hair out, if I'm totally honest. I feel like we've chosen Auxerre as a side. I chose a structure of play. Is it going to work for us? I just don't know. But today, it's definitely not worked for us. And this is the second style of play, and it's still not worked for us. I think we're going to have to do something again to see if we can change it. So pause the game, back into the tactics, and let's see if we can have one final go at figuring this out. So this feels like throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, to be honest, but I'm kind of out of ideas on this particular occasion. So this is what we're going to go with for the remainder of the game. We are going to play a couple of wide men now. Chambost comes in and you can see that he can play this role, sort of. He's not particularly great at it, but he can play it, so he'll come there. And if we look at Digimon, he can play the left-sided role. He's more of a right-sided player, but I just wanted to find somebody that could play the left-hand side, and he's as good as I've got. So we're going to play those two in the wide positions. Lebihan comes in up top, and the other change that we've made is Belogu comes in central midfield. Toure comes out because Belogu plays in this role slightly better. And that's what we're going to go with for the rest of the game. We've changed into a sort of wing play, so we're going to work the flanks a little bit and see how we get on, and just see whether my theory holds weight, that if you play a more narrow structure of game, it's harder to get them going than it is playing with wide men, even if the wide men aren't particularly great at their job. We'll see. We get a chance to build up an attack right away from our own sort of fullback area, and see if we can work it out to these wide areas. Lepihan picks up the ball and holds it very nicely as a target man role. There's the cross that comes in and we get a chance at goal, and Chambost on the right hand side is proving my point. If you can disprove it, please do. But my point is, it feels like it's harder to get a narrow formation working rather than it is to get a formation with wide men working, even if the wide men aren't particularly accomplished at their roles. You've got to have them, otherwise your team's shape doesn't seem to work. I'd love to be proved wrong. Show me the proof where you've managed to do it differently. And we might have to think about how to move this club forward now. In terms of how our structures of play are focused and whether we can add some width to this side or not. Again, Lons have a long shot on that occasion, goes wide, but I've kind of given up on this game. There's nothing I can do about this particular result, and there goes the final whistle. It's just about trying to figure out what we do moving forward, because the entire first transfer window was geared to trying to find the right players where possible to play in the structure that we started the game with. And so we don't have the wide men, but it feels like we need them. Anyway, that's enough about that from me today. Let's go assertively and say I'm not happy with the performance. I'm not even going to analyse it. There's no point. It feels like it was one of those games where I got it wrong in pretty much every way, and I'm willing to put my hand up for that. I didn't do well at all today, but we've got to find a way to move forward. Would you go wide men, even though they're not accomplished, or would you play narrow and try and make it work somehow that I haven't figured out? Because I genuinely haven't got a clue, just at the moment, how to make that formation properly work. Even the recent results that we got that were decent, we just didn't look particularly good at it. There we go. That's me over and done for today. I can't carry on just moaning about it. We've got to do something about it. Please come and help me. I'm asking you to help me. Let me know what you think about all of the stuff we've talked about in this episode. and I will then think about how I move this club forward. That's going to basically do it for today, though. It was a weird episode. It's not one that I'm particularly proud of, if I'm honest. But I'm going to put it out there anyway, because it's how you kind of learn and grow in the game, I think. So what we're going to do is we're going to play through a couple of games just to see if I can get any semblance of structure working with this side. And we're going to come back. Let's come back for Grenoble Foot 38. What an interesting team name that is. But we're going to come and play that game next towards the end of October. And by that point, I'll have actually either pulled my hair out, found something that worked, listened to what you had to say in the comments and implemented some of that. And we'll have to see whether we can get any semblance of this side working. The results look good. The gameplay hasn't been. And then we come up against a big boy in Lens. And that is what happens to us. Something's not right and we need to change it. So anyway, that's going to do it for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been interesting for you, because to be honest, I don't know what I think about this episode at the moment. But we've got to do something, and we're not giving up on this team by any stretch. We're going to sort this out. Subscribe to the channel though if you haven't already, and join my United City community, the more the merrier, and keep up to date with the videos that I release, and keep up to date with me trying to sort this series out. Click that like button for me though. Even if you think this episode was kind of poor, click it anyway. Get lots more people seeing it, and maybe we'll get some comments to help me out in the comment section below. That's going to do it for today though. Oh boy. This might just be the most challenging episode I've ever put out, I think, on my channel. I genuinely don't know how to make this formation or this system or this team play well. There we go. Stop. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you very soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.